and welcome back to the Women on Amazon podcast. I'm here today with Laura McCaul from Sponsored Profit. This is episode 44. So show notes and links will either be below if you're watching this on YouTube video or in the show notes, womenonamazon.com/44. Welcome, Laura.
Hello.
So you're calling in from the UK, right?
I am on a very overcast day in Worcester, which is northwest of London and southeast of Birmingham. So we're kind of West Midlands, bottom of West Midlands area.
Okay,
Yes.
so as we record this last day of September, my time, are you guys in lockdown still? What's your COVID situation?
It depends what day of the week you ask. It's an ever changing situation here. So certainly parts of the north, I think the northeast and soon to be northwest of the UK are in lockdown. So-called local lockdowns. It's not too bad here where I am, fortunately, but it's changing all the time. The rules are changing all the time. How many people can meet, mix, gather is changing all the time. So it's by the time this podcast goes out,
who knows what's going to be happening. That's right. Well,
we're like that.
We're here in Melbourne. We're just coming out of probably the most severe lockdown of anywhere in the world, the longest and most severe. But it seems to have worked, hopefully, fingers crossed, and hopefully, like other parts of Australia, we'll be able to get on with our lives within the next sort of 3 to 6 weeks and just get on with it. That's the plan.
Fingers crossed.
That's fingers crossed. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about PPC. So firstly, can you just give me some background as to your background and your company's background in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. So our company, Sponsored Profit, we focus on Amazon PPC. We've been around a couple of years now. My sort of backstory after a varied career was I started selling on Amazon in 2015.
Okay, same as me.
And that was through ASM. I think that was ASM 5. Yeah, back then. Okay. So yeah, but of all the skills and tasks required selling on Amazon, I quickly realized and gravitated to writing product listings.
Right.
And found I could write high converting product listings. So as I got more established in my business, as I met more sellers, I started helping friends with their product listings, and it quickly grew into the perfect business for me. And then at a seller event, I met a couple of other sellers, Tim Peakman and Daryl Patterson. Daryl is the PPC whiz here at Sponsored Profit. So he and I started working together, working with sellers on their listings, he on their PPC. And then Tim comes from a training background, and he kind of fused the organization and helped us create training and basically helped us sort of get the business to where it is today in terms of having a little bit more organization about what we do. But we decided about a year ago, because conversion was growing, because it was more than just your images and it was more than just the sales copy. There's obviously stores, there's EBC, there's video, there's so much.
So different now.
It's growing. And we
huge,
sort of had we sort of had the discussion of, well, do we kind of go full agency and do everything, or do we just kind of focus on one thing? And PPC is such a problematic thing for most sellers. We thought, let's go all in on PPC. Plus it's changing so much.
Oh my God.
So
it's changing like every week. There's something new. There's another email from Amazon saying, hey, we're doing a beta on this. Why don't you try that? Video here, video there. Oh my goodness. It's just a full-time job just keeping up with it.
Exactly, it is. And so we decided to kind of go all in. However, when we start talking about, some strategies and certainly how we operate, at the same time, we are very much of the belief that despite all these developments on the advertising platform, as overwhelming and complicated as it is, you don't need to be doing all the things. Certainly for newer sellers, which is what part of our business focus on, you know, sponsored products is still a huge opportunity. So we'll be talking about that shortly. But yeah, we're all about PPC.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's sort of knuckle down. For listeners to this podcast will know I'm not a PPC expert. In fact, I'm probably whatever is the opposite of that. I'm sort of one of those throw the mud against the wall and see what sticks sort of person. And I've found over the years certain things work, certain things don't, and I'm very quick to get rid of campaigns that are not profitable because I'm sort of I'm a big fan of actually making money and not giving, you know, making some profit rather than giving it all to Amazon. So let's, you're obviously a lot more organized in terms of your PPC philosophy. So let's sort of, well, I hope so. Anybody's got to be better than me. So let's go. And if I was starting out today, I was a new seller with a single product, what would be my strategy in PPC in the first few months? Let's sort of break it up as to initial, and then we'll look at long term. So what should I first be doing? Is there like a strategy or a campaign structure that you recommend? What is your?
Yeah, look, absolutely. So, you know, we're big believers of keeping things simple. And so we are very much about, you know, we would recommend starting small. So that whole throwing mud at the wall to see how much sticks is the absolute opposite of what we would do, only because it's a very easy way to spend a lot of money quickly, right?
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you're going to be
Hey,
investing in keywords that
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it as a strategy at all. That's why I'm talking to you.
But it's, you know, it's often a strategy that's put out there, or certainly it used to be put out there a lot. And it was just like, you know, throw 200 keywords in a campaign, see which ones work. And that's a very inefficient way to go around it. So we would start off with what we call C keywords. So 5 to 10 C keywords. These are going to be shorter tail keywords. They're going to probably be those, you know, bigger traffic keywords, but we want them to also be relevant. So, you know, they're going to be related around what your product is called. Now, we are only starting with these because, as we know, those shorter tail, big traffic keywords tend to be more expensive. Right.
So do these go into a broad or a phrase or an exact match? Like what's your matching strategy?
So we would start, you know, we would start with what we call, you know, obviously an auto campaign, and we would start with a manual campaign as well with those C keywords across all the match types, because what we want to do is we want to see what works.
Right.
So, so it's not sustainable long term to keep those keywords, or it probably isn't going to be sustainable. But what they will do is they will start generating sufficient data so that we can then, through the search term report, start identifying, okay, what are the longer tail keywords that are less competitive, that we are going to be, you know, more likely to convert on, and therefore we are more likely to be able to rank for. So the mistake often sellers will make is they'll keep those big traffic keywords in there, or they will or they will assume, well, that's my main keyword, so I need to have it in my campaign. Your main keywords, ultimately, when your campaigns get a little bit more age, your main keywords are the keywords that make you money.
That's right. They're the ones that sell.
That's what your main keywords are. It doesn't matter what they are. What matters is the sales that they drive. So that's what we would suggest. Be as aggressive as you can. You know, target, you know, 5 to 10 highly relevant, shorter tail, bigger traffic keywords to get those search term reports generating the data, so you can then start identifying longer tail keywords that you can, you know, convert on and drive sales for.
And so do you have like a particular cutoff that you say, okay, I'm going to spend X amount on a particular keyword, or I want to get so many clicks? Like, do you have I'm losing my words now. Particular strategies in relation to that?
Not really, because different products behave differently. And so, you know, the amount of data and the speed at which you'll gather that data will vary from product to product. It will
Right.
vary on your budget.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no hard and fast rules. But essentially what you want to do is, as I say, you want to get to a position where you can, you know, where you've gathered sufficient data to start making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So it would vary for different products, for different sellers with different budgets. But, you know, you do have to see this as an investment in market research. You're essentially paying Amazon to tell you what search terms
Mm-hmm.
are customers finding and buying my products on.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
yeah,
So
so
that's in the first,
yeah.
let's say, is that going to be a month, 2 months? Who
Again,
knows? Yeah.
yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
just depends on the product, and it depends on the budget. So, you know, we'd say, you know, go as hard and fast as you can
Mm-hmm.
afford, but just realize, you know, on a super low budget, you know, it's going to take longer than a budget that's a
Sure.
little bit
It's
more
higher.
generous, that can kind of work for you.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's the initial sort of discovery phase.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, just we're talking about sponsored products only. We're not doing anything tricky with video
Correct?
ads. We're not
No,
doing branding. We're
absolutely
not
not.
doing sponsored brands. We're not doing anything. This is
Nope.
purely just real basic. So anybody can really do this
Yeah.
on their own if they want to.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
so for long-term growth, so once I've discovered how many keywords am I looking for then? Okay, so we start with 5 to 10. How many do I want to have after this discovery
Look,
process?
you want to have as many as possible, but, you know, the thing is that another sort of way to look at PPC is, you know, you're always going to be in launch mode, meaning you're always going to be launching new keywords. You're not necessarily always going to be launching new products, but again, there was kind of you know, there was a time where you saw a launch as a one-time event, and you were either in launch mode or you were in maintenance mode.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, what we do is we kind of look at launching as an ongoing thing, because, you know, PPC is a long-term growth strategy for your Amazon business. So you're always going to be discovering new keywords, and you always want to be discovering new keywords because you want to find new keywords to sell your products on. So what we would then start to do is take a very systematic approach to the data that now your campaigns are starting to generate. What we're looking for is we're looking to identify the search terms that have, you know, a healthy click-through rate and a healthy conversion rate. So your click-through rate is essentially that you know, when an ad gets served, how many get clicked on.
Yep.
That's telling us relevancy.
Right.
Is your ad relevant, you know, for the search term that the customer has used? Average click-through rates on Amazon are 0.4%. So you want to be looking at your search term report, you know, for anything above that. The same goes for conversion. We want to see how our ads are converting. So your conversion rate for PPC is different from your organic conversion.
Right.
So, you know, your unit session percent, because your unique session percentage, that's telling you how many sales convert from people landing on your page. So how well does your product detail page convert?
Yes.
Your PPC conversion is telling you how well do your ads convert. And so what's key to understand with your PPC conversion is, again, keywords play a really key role. Many times sellers will say, well, you know, my unit session percentage is 20% or 25% or 50%. I convert really well. That doesn't necessarily mean you convert well on any given keyword. Yes, you've got a great product listing, but again, sometimes, you know, again, those greedy big traffic keywords, you know, you might not convert, your ads might not convert for that keyword. So
the
conversion rate for you. Yeah. And so that needs to be
what is your
calculated.
benchmark? So do you have a benchmark for PPC conversion that you like to?
Yeah, I mean, again, we like to aim for around 10%. Average can be, you know, around 5%. But again, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to look, you know, at your conversion rates and get a sense for, you know, the ads that are converting for you. And you'll find that as well through your cost per clicks, right? Because when you're converting well on a keyword, your cost per click is going to start to come down. So that's another measure of your relevancy. So what we want to do as we're starting to identify these keywords that are winning for us, we want to start testing a handful at a time, because again, some then when we start spending more money on them, maybe they don't perform as well, others will. So we take a very systematic approach of, okay, what are the next top 2 keywords that our data is telling us are worth looking at? Let's test them. Then the next 2, then the next 2, and that's how we kind of gradually grow and scale our campaigns.
So those search terms. So do you have a campaign structure where each keyword is a different campaign, or like how do you physically group your keywords in your campaigns?
Okay, so basically what we do is we have our simplest structure is what we call the core 4, which is your auto, and then you'll have a broad phrase and exact match campaign. Those are the core 4. Then the next sort of group, because again, sponsored products has expanded, you can now have 4 auto campaign structures. So then
you've got the
close,
close match, the broad match, the compliments. That's right.
And so then we would look to expand those, and then there's more campaigns that we would look to expand to. We actually kind of we go from kind of 0 to, I think it's 11 or 13. But again, for the sake of this podcast, if we focus on those core 4 and then the autos, that you're going to be getting a lot of bang for your buck just by fully leveraging those campaigns. And as I said, really focusing on keywords, great click-through rates.
So you keep do you keep the new search terms that you found, you add them back into those same campaigns, or do you pull them out into new campaigns?
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pausing the keywords that don't work, and we're going to be adding the new campaigns that do, and and then sort of test them, and then we work on what's called a break-even strategy. Which is we want to get our campaigns to a break-even ACOS.
Right.
And so that's so your break-even ACOS is I
doesn't understand what that means.
Yeah, so basically your break-even ACOS will be your profit margin.
Right.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're not making money, you're not losing money on that campaign. Now, for many strategies out there, they'll say, well, what's the point of that? The point of that for us is, what it means is for every organic sale you make, is pure profit.
Right.
So if you take a step back from for a minute with Amazon PPC, that the purpose of PPC for paid traffic is to drive your organic rank and sales. That's what PPC is for. It's there to drive organic rank and sales through paid traffic, through paid visibility. So what we want to do is we always want to, over time, get our keywords and our campaigns to break even, and then gradually increase the budget, because we want to see how much sales volume is there for any keyword, any given keyword, how much sales volume is there, so that we can be driving the maximum amount of paid visibility and paid traffic in order to drive the maximum amount of organic rank and sales.
Gotcha. So you're happy to not make profit on your PPC, but to break even in order to rank for organic sales. Gotcha. Well, that's pretty much that's an excellent strategy. Okay, so you pretty much just it's rinse and repeat. Then you just keep doing that, finding more keywords.
Absolutely, and it takes time. So I think that's really important when again you kind of how you look at PPC. It's not an overnight thing. It's not a silver bullet. Okay, it takes time. PPC is about data. Data needs to be tested. Testing takes time. So you're sort of gradually wanting to test and scale your campaigns. And when you take a more measured approach, it might take, a little longer. But again, when you're starting out, and cash is limited in your business, taking more of a methodical,
Yes.
measured approach will get you bigger gains longer term, rather than, we'll come up onto some mistakes, shortly, but, going after your main keyword time and time again and wondering why you're not ranking and staying on page one for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So at which stage do you recommend sellers then branch out in the different types of advertising that's available? Or do you pretty much say, nah, don't bother? What's your take on that?
Okay. If I can give an example, actually, what I mentioned earlier, one of the new auto campaigns.
Yes.
If I can kind of go through an example where we've seen, massive gains just by fully leveraging sponsored products, because I think this is important, because there's absolutely a time and a place for those other campaigns. So in our agency, we work with clients and we'll work across sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display, but that's still all we do. For our sort of our DIY offer, as it is, it's all about sponsored products, because I can almost guarantee 95% of sellers are not leveraging sponsored products. Every time a new ad campaign comes out, I think there's a fear of missing out. There's FOMO in PPC.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
like, I've got to be doing this now, and
because all the gurus are out there saying, try this, you're getting free traffic, it's cheap, try it now. What about product targeting? Or do you do only keywords, or do you also do product targeting?
No, absolutely. Product targeting. So again, sponsored products has really expanded to, getting phenomenal results with the product targeting. So ASIN targeting. Obviously with category targeting, you have a little less control.
I've never really enjoyed that, I have to say.
But, again, what you'll find is there will be some categories that you'll convert better on than others, and it's a case of testing that. But again, we take a very methodical approach. So you want to get those core 4 campaigns firing. You want to explore those the 4 auto campaigns before you then take it up a notch to product and category targeting. So I think, as I mentioned, with I think we have one client at the moment in I think it's the Close auto campaign, and within 3 months, PP sales for one product went from $16,000 a month to $56,000 a month, because what you can now do in these auto campaigns, which you could never do before, is you can add ASINs, competitor ASINs, as negative keywords.
As negative keywords.
Yes. So for years, right, you get your auto campaigns search term report, and you'd see all those ASINs.
You couldn't do anything with it. Yeah.
You couldn't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
So now Amazon has given you, a massive advantage now, because they're giving you the control to add those ASINs as negative. So in this one campaign for one product, for one client, I think at last count there was over 200 ASINs, competitor ASINs, added in that campaign. And as I said, over 3 months, PPC sales have gone from $16,000 a month to $56,000 a month, because what that's doing is it's giving you a level of control that you never had in auto campaigns before. And now, auto campaigns are not just research campaigns.
Yes.
You can actually refine them now to be, revenue generating campaigns. So, again, so when it comes to, the different ad types, yes, absolutely, there's a time and a place, but I guarantee, like, most sellers won't even be using, that new feature in the auto campaigns.
Yeah.
And for sure, you will generate sales and turn those campaigns around in a matter of weeks if you start using those extra features. So, while everyone's spending, their budget on the other ad types, that provides you with more opportunity on sponsored products. So I really advise.
I'm just going to sort of dumb that down. So what you're saying is, in an auto campaign,
yes,
go in and find the ASINs that are not converting from competitor ASINs that obviously that your product is showing on competitor ASINs, and you'll see that
Yeah.
it's showing,
Yeah.
and you'll see that
Yeah.
you're getting, let's say, 20 clicks, no sales. So
Correct.
you would then take those ASINs and put them in as a negative search term in your auto campaign.
Yeah, so basically you can go to Campaign Manager under the search term tabs, so you don't even have to download your search term part. In the search term tabs,
that's
sort
right.
by clicks and spend.
Yep.
And then you'll see like a ton of ASINs that you've spent money on that obviously haven't generated sales. Cut and paste, copy those rather, and then paste them into the negative targeting tab.
So what that does is it frees up your budget to find more profitable search terms
and
or
that's
ASINs.
and that's what you're always looking to do. That's why we're always looking to identify the winners and the losers. The winners being, you know, relevant converting keywords, because we always want to be redirecting our ad spend from the stuff that's, you know, chewing our money and not doing anything, to the stuff that is. And now we have an opportunity to do that in the auto campaigns at a level we couldn't before. And it's, you know, it will generate you know, pretty sterling results for most sellers, I would think, because those ASINs, that's, you know, you just used to see them and you'd be like, you know, that's a big improvement.
That's a really awesome tip. Thank you for that. So let's talk about mistakes, you know, people like me make with PPC when we don't know what we're doing, or we're following strategies that are no longer relevant. You know, some of the strategies that were in existence when you and I first started, you know, seem a little bit old hat now and perhaps not relevant. So what are mistakes that you see that people listening to this podcast can say, aha, I may be doing that, or I won't do that, in order to save some money and make some more profit?
Okay, I think the first thing is, as I said, is the, you know, going after the wrong keywords. You know, so often you'll find, you know, you have a huge source of frustration because you'll have been selling for a while. You think, I know what my main keyword is. It's silicone spatula, and yet I'm not getting a single sale, PPC sale, on silicone spatula in my campaigns. You know, what's up? So, you know, what you really need to focus on, as I said, is what's working for you, what's converting, what has a click-through rate, and really kind of, you know, direct your spend on that, because you know, at the end of the day, nobody cares what keywords you convert on. You shouldn't really care what keywords you convert on. You're here to make money. So I think people get Amazon doesn't care. You shouldn't care. But I think, you know, sellers get really caught up in it. And I think, you know, the next kind of place that they go to is Amazon PPC doesn't work. Like, I'm not even selling on my main keyword. Like, you know, Amazon's out to get me, or, you know, PPC doesn't work, or, you know, maybe the good old days are over. PPC does absolutely work, but you need to just focus on what's working for you. I mean, again, in our agency, it's not uncommon for us to manage campaigns for the same products with different sellers. Right. Those campaigns all behave differently. What converts for one seller for the same product won't convert for whatever reason for another seller. So it's really important to understand that. And I think the minute you do, and I think the minute you kind of let go of that, I think your mindset will shift in terms of how you see PPC as well.
So it's that old, you know, get the ego out of the way and go with what's going to make you money, right?
Look, absolutely. And look, it's an easy trap to fall into. I also think as well, you know, there has been a little bit in the past, almost, you know, go hard or go home sort of approach to PPC. Well, you know, if you're not converting on your main keywords, just spend more money. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. You know, to prove a point to who?
You think it might be Amazon execs in the Facebook groups are going, yeah, do that.
Well, look, you know, the one time where that happens, right, is right now as we're approaching Prime Day in Q4. Now, most of the time.
That's my next question. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so I think that's the first thing. Really take a good hard look at your data, and you know, get divorced from what you think is your main keyword, and kind of look at your keywords with a fresh pair of eyes.
Okay. So you just touched on it. So that was going to be my next question. Where Prime Day is 13th of October this year, so not far from when this podcast will be available. And of course, not long after that, we've got, well, I don't know, there's not going to be any Black Friday, but certainly Cyber Monday, and then the holiday selling period, which goodness knows what it's going to be like this year with the shipping, etc. So as sellers, what should we be mindful of, and what can we do to, get as much profit out of this peak selling time when it comes to PPC?
Yeah, great question. So for Prime Day, for the Q4 in particular, the big days that you mentioned, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and actually any other sort of high traffic day, like if you say, for example, if you sell barbecue goods around 4th of July and around Labor Day, they're kind of peak high, what we would call high traffic days. The key to success on high traffic days is longevity and visibility. You want your ads to be as visible for as long as possible. So what that means, what we recommend is like 80-20 your campaigns. What are your best, and your products, what are your best converting products? What are your best converting campaigns? What are your best converting keywords? Go all in on them, pause everything else. It's, yes, you can increase bids if your campaigns are profitable. Not everyone's campaigns are profitable, but really making your budget last so you can have your ads displayed as long as possible throughout the day. If you're direct, investing and focusing as much of your budget and more if you can on the stuff that works, because that's the stuff you're going to get a return on, that stuff you're going to make money on, that's what you need to focus in and really get laser focused over those key days. What will happen as well is if you've taken that approach and your competitors haven't, as your competitors' ads fall away during the day, as they run out of budget, you're going to start securing better ad positions because the cost per click now is going to start coming down in your favor because you're still going after those keywords and maybe they're not. And so that is really the key. Focus on what works, dial up the budgets as much as you can, and just be as relevant and last as long as you can throughout the day.
Excellent. Now, there's one little, it's not a hack, it's just a piece of knowledge that I don't know if people are aware of, is if you're increasing your budgets throughout the day, let's say your budget was $100 and you get to midday, so you're only halfway through and you run out of budget and you double your budget to $200, that does not mean that Amazon will spend that extra $100, right? Because they pro-rata it. Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, it's the explanation as well of really, what your budget is, throughout the year is it's an intent to invest. It's a signal that you're sending Amazon that, hey, I want to be shown for this keyword or these keywords if it's in a campaign. So it doesn't mean, you will spend it. It basically depends. If there is demand there for your product, that you'll spend your budget. So many times sellers can get a bit freaked out if their budget gets spent. They'll be like, oh my God, all my budget's been spent by lunchtime. We're like, fantastic.
That's great.
That means there's a huge amount of demand, for your product. Again, as long as your campaigns are reasonably optimized, those keywords are the right keywords, you're converting and getting the clicks. So again, I think there is that tendency, and it's understandable for sellers to be afraid to invest in ads. This could be construed as another mistake, sort of having that cost mindset versus investment mindset. But when you know what works in your PPC, when you know the keywords that drive sales, when you know the keywords that drive profit, as soon as you understand that, you start really dialing in on that, and you start getting the gains and the returns from that. Again, your mindset will shift because all of a sudden you're like, so PPC does work. And then, when that happens, you become less afraid to invest money and
Yes.
go, okay, now I get it. So
It becomes
so
how
yeah,
much can I spend rather than how much can I save, right?
how much can I spend? Because again, when you're getting your campaigns and your keywords to break even, but you're opening up the budget gradually and seeing how much paid demand is there for this product, so I can increase my rank and serve the organic demand. That's when PPC gets really exciting and really powerful for your business. But you're right, Regina. There has to be that mindset shift of, it does work, it can work, I can get a return on it. You have to spend it on the stuff that works instead of spending it on the stuff that doesn't.
Back to the 80-20. Okay.
Yep.
So you're saying we started off early on. Sponsored Profit is an agency. So how much do I need to be spending on PPC to make it worth my while to pay somebody like you to do it for me?
Well, it's a fair question. Well, we actually have, there are two parts to our business. So Sponsored Profit Partners is our agency business. So we typically work with larger entrepreneurial brands that are sort of investing, around $10,000 per month in ad spend. However, what we've done is we've recently created a PPC system with software for sellers, first time, newer, establishing sellers. What we've done is the same system, so the same proven strategy we apply in our agency, the same software we built, which is super easy to use in our agency, and the same support we provide to our clients, we've created in Sponsored Profit, which is basically a subscription system, just like your Helium 10 or your viral launch. It's a monthly subscription that basically provides you with everything you need to manage your own ads quickly, easily, and confidently. So it's basically our agency in a monthly package, and that's Sponsored Profit. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a piece of software. So that links with my Seller Central API.
No, so basically we use Amazon bulk operations. So there's no, so we don't have access to your Amazon account.
Right. Because I know some people are concerned, have security concerns about all of the different software tools having access to their accounts, from data.
Yeah, no,
etc.
No, we don't require any of that. So we build our own software where basically, again, it's all very sort of self-explanatory, but bulk files or bulk operations has been available in Amazon for some time. What it is, a lot of bigger sellers typically use it. It allows you to make changes and manage and optimize your PPC campaigns through bulk files or Excel spreadsheets, right? So you can make changes in bulk. That's where the name came from. So we've created software that basically speeds up and optimizes that process for you. So essentially, if you can download a bulk file from your Amazon Campaign Manager account, which
anybody can do,
everyone can do, even I can do that. You upload that bulk file into our software, and our software optimizes your campaigns. It will find keyword suggestions, it will find negative keywords, it will make bid adjustments. You download that and then upload that back into Amazon as your optimized bulk file, and it's done. It takes about 3 minutes.
Right. So it's something that somebody like me, I can spend hours doing that myself in my campaigns. So what you're saying is the system. So do you set parameters, or do I set the parameters in the
parameters? Yeah. So that's important. So I think what I'd like to kind of really emphasize is that this is being created to be as easy as possible for sellers to use. There is a lot of great software out there on the market. A lot of it, though, is very, very complicated to use. And the reason for that is because they're software that is 100% automated requires you to set the rules, right? Because the software won't know how to optimize your campaigns unless you tell it, so how many clicks do you want a keyword to get
Yes.
before it makes a
So
sale to negative, right?
Okay. I've had free access to that kind of software, and I look at it and I go, that's just too hard.
It is hard. It is hard. And it's hard for most sellers. So the alternative is, so if you don't know that information, you can't set up those custom rules for yourself. We have some default parameters for you.
Right.
Okay. The challenge with that is that you have a very sort of arbitrary rule saying, okay, well, if you spend X amount on this keyword and it doesn't generate sale, we'll negative it. Well, how do you know that's the right thing for your keyword? So basically, with our software, you put in your product data, things like your profit margin, the strategy that basically works with the software. Because the software will implement the strategy. It's all based off your numbers.
Right. Okay.
Your budgets, your target ACOS, your profit margins, right? So that if you want to build and scale campaigns that drive profit, we figure that all out for you, because we work with your data, not an algorithm that we've created that we think works for your product.
Gotcha.
It's what works for your product. So that's quite important to know.
Yeah. And what I was going to say was, there are lots of different options these days, certainly more than there was a couple of years ago. And the reason that you and I are talking is because somebody in our Facebook group actually recommended you, and who has used your software and has come back with a glowing review. And I thought, right, okay, I'll come and seek you out and talk to you. So hence
Appreciate it.
while we're talking. So how much is access to your software?
So it's $97 per month, but we offer a 14-day free trial. So you can go in and, we've got over 60 tutorial videos to kind of, walk you through step by step what you need to do. We go through the strategy, the tool will implement that for you. But as you are, one of our affiliates, if anybody comes to us through your podcast, Regina, they'll get a 28-day free trial. So they'll get double the free trial, so they can really go in and take a look and get a feel for what they need to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay, so thank you for that. So if anybody uses the link that's included below this video or in the show notes, you get a double the free trial period for the use of the software, which is awesome. So I guess it wouldn't take much to save $100 a month on PPC in order to justify the additional cost, correct?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And probably the most immediate benefit you'll get is the time saving. So, one of our customers, used to spend approximately an hour per week per product on her PPC, and she described PPC as death by 1,000 cuts. She did not.
Absolutely. I'm in that in that category. Absolutely.
So shout out to Louise. She really did not enjoy it, and now so she was spending about 5 to 6 hours. She had 5 to 6 products, 5 to 6 hours a week on PPC. She's got it down to under 5 minutes. We recommend you optimize twice a week. So twice a week, she spends 5 minutes optimizing her campaigns. And she says she actually quite looks forward to it now. It's fun. She says, click, 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 done. And that's her PPC. So that's important.
And you can spend that 5 or 6 hours a week on other, searching new products and
absolutely
other growth strategies to make you money. I mean, or
absolutely
sitting in your hammock reading your 4-Hour Work Week book.
Living the dream. That's
Living
right.
The dream.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that, Laura. Really appreciate it. Is there anything I've forgotten to ask? Anything that people need to know about PPC that we've not yet covered in this conversation?
Not that I can think of, but I'm sure maybe there'll be another occasion where we can have another chat.
Absolutely. Terrific. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.